A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
High noon and welcome in. This is the Mason Crosby Show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Pew, 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 pew. My name is Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. No, you guys both nailed it there. That was awesome.
Great. I was distracted.
That's okay. That's fine. Tommy Wirtz in the house. And, of course, the all-time leading scorer. Who's second? Is Longwell second? Who's second?
Longwell is second.
Longwell second. But he's got to be way down that list.
He hates you, man.
Yeah, I know. He loves me.
It's Longwell.
He's such a good dude.
How close is he career? Because obviously he had a few years with the Vikings there.
I got you.
I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's got to be close-ish. Mason Crosby, I believe, still the 11th leading scorer in NFL history.
I mean, I played 8 more seasons in Green Bay after I broke the record. So.
And he probably played like 4 or 5 in Minnesota.
Played
Not
6,
in the top 20.
He's not in the top 20. All right. Ryan Long, who? This is This is the Mason Crosby Show. We're just having fun on a Thursday. Mason humaned it up yesterday. He'll tell us all about that during the show today.
Yep.
We've got Ashley Washburn from TMJ4 in Milwaukee. She's going to join the show around 12:20. Tim Allen, the franchise from Weekly Hot Stove with Tommy Wirtz and the post-game show. He's going to join us basically because we're the only show that he hasn't been on yet. And so we got a memo from God that said, you guys need to have Tim Allen on your show.
Have him.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
We got him.
Which we said,
no,
God,
you know,
if you say that, we're in.
Tommy told us. Tommy produced us and said,
dude,
we got to get my guy. I mean, they're buddies now. They do their own show together.
There are so many shots being fired at high noon here. 4 minutes.
This is
the
high
show.
noon. This is where the shots are
this
fired. This is where it comes.
Only room for the two of us in here right now. Yeah.
Exactly.
But
all right.
Hey, Tim Allen's. It's exciting. We're excited. He's a teammate. He is awesome, and I can't wait to just like pick his brain, not just today, but like during Brewer season, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, the show was gangbusters yesterday with Tommy, and
it got a little heated.
I love that. Like that's going to be such a good one. You don't want to miss that all Brewer season long. I got to do a little unboxing now. So I got a little package, and I don't know if you can see the address. Go on YouTube, go on Twitter, look at this video. You don't want to miss this.
Okay.
It looks like it says Green Bay Packers, 1265 Lombardi Avenue. What?
Dude, what if it's a special teams coordinator contract right there in a box?
Are they invited? What's happening? I got some new gear.
Nice.
Yes. Get a new hat. Let's.
Nice.
All right. I've been wearing this hat for a while.
Oh my God, I forgot how gray you were.
Oh, I know. The gray is gray.
Yeah.
Oh,
look at that.
I would look good on the sideline with this.
You would
dude.
look good. Yeah.
You and James look Jones. At this with the headset. Dude, I look like a coach now.
Mason
right?
Special Teams, James Jones, wide receiver coach. Let's go.
And if you weren't listening before, I told this story, and I had Gray Rugemer call me about finding something special that I had lost 5 years ago. So in this box, they sent me gear. And they sent my ring.
Wow, that's awesome.
Does
Molly re-proposed? She proposed to me yesterday.
I was actually going to ask, like, does Molly need to
back on?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she put a ring on it, guys.
She
put a ring
if you like it, then you got to put a ring on it.
Wait, so you got a new ring within that time, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. But now you get that's the family heirloom.
This
right?
This is the original. So it has Mason and Molly 2008, and then it has Mimi and Papa 1976. So this is my granddad, my papa's ring, and I had it overlaid on another ring because it's just kind of a small gold ring, but yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's awesome.
That is fantastic.
So I thought I'd do that on the show today, just a little unboxing. I guess that's what the kids do now, right? That's like, that's the cool
you
thing.
sound like you're with the times when you say that. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, hey, you're throwing shots now, bro.
I brought Mitch Nellis some gifts as well today because I'm waiting to give him his gift still. So I had a gift that I got him last year that I never got to him. But he's got a Caitlin Clark basketball now, which
means the Rumbles have a Caitlin Clark
right.
basketball.
I figured that would work. And then I'm bringing him a desk ornament, so I got him a different little desk ornament in the meantime as well.
Yeah. I'm kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And corporate Tommy wearing his polo today. Let's not forget that.
Tuesdays and Thursdays are always polo game. You can
say it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we know who our next guest is.
Okay,
relax.
Let's relax.
Oh man,
you just like dressing up for the ladies.
Dude, you trimmed your beard too. Like it looks like you're nice and trimmed today.
Dude, I mean, I'm just
Tommy has lost 140 pounds, bro.
Yeah, I have to show you this picture. I have to send you this picture, man.
From October, Mace.
It's crazy. I think I've lost. I have no idea how much weight I've lost, but it's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight since October 1st.
Oh, I can't wait.
All right, so Mason, I don't know what you think about this. I'm going off sports again for a quick second. Oh, you got a new sweatshirt too?
I got a hoodie too. Yeah,
nice. That's awesome.
That's a coach.
They didn't give me this stuff when I played there. This is unbelievable.
They want
like
you
we
to
were saying,
video.
Whenever you're clearing out your locker, like before you come back on the day that they clear lockers out. The equipment staff, again, and this is not a shot. I love everybody in that room.
Right.
But they go and they take all of your team issued stuff that you've worn all year and it's out of your locker. You're not getting any of that stuff. You maybe have a few pairs of Lululemons. I will say, sorry guys, I'm still wearing some of my my Lululemon boxers boxer briefs that they had in the locker room. Like I took a few pairs of those.
There's no shame in that.
Yeah, still rocking some of that. But it was weird how excited I was to get some gear sent by the Packers.
So not necessarily Packers news, but coaching news. Let's start with John Harbaugh a little bit. Let's talk about John Harbaugh. It looks like I don't know. I don't think the I's are dotted or the T's are crossed. But it sure sounds like John Harbaugh is going to the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Mason, what do you think about that? I mean, I assume he could have picked any of the openings.
Yeah, and John Harbaugh, if I'm not mistaken, he's pretty old, right? Like is
63.
Okay.
63,
I thought he was like up in his upper 60s. That's
not too old.
But what do you think? Like, are they looking at is this a 10-year, like 5
years, 100 million is what the estimation is.
Just because he asked for 20 million.
Right. He said he wanted 20.
That's crazy.
Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scattaboo.
Good on
Brian
him.
Burns. You get on the other side.
What's the other kid who they got?
Thibodeau.
Is that the kid from Penn State who?
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter. That's right.
Yeah, Abdul Carter.
Who I mean, they've got.
Yeah, they have young,
there,
good
right?
talent. Yeah, so they're probably hoping that he can just shore that up and get him pointed in the right direction. It is crazy whenever you look at. The Packers haven't had a ton of coaches, but the Ravens and the Steelers, they will be going for their fourth head coach in both those franchises' history. The Steelers crazier because they've been around longer.
Steelers,
but
nuts.
Still, that is wild.
I think it's technically just since 1969, but do we even count football before that year? The Ravens, it is the fourth, ever. That's crazy. I now, what does it mean for LaFleur during all of this, right? Because we've heard it's just negotiations, and speaking of no T's crossed or I's dotted in Green Bay on any extension. John Harbaugh, does Matt LaFleur want more than that now?
No. I mean, he can't. He doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know if he can ask for more, but it's like that market just, but Harbaugh has been doing it at a high level for a really long time, right? Yeah. Like, I think like a little different, but that number goes up to that 15 million range, I would think. It's like 10 to 15 a year is not out of the question for what Matt LaFleur should probably be asking, just because the market dictates it. Do we all have to agree with what the market is? No, but that is what it is, right? That's always the interesting thing in this. The thing that I don't get is our boy over there at the old, 4-letter place. Schefter is, how many times has he gone back and forth this week?
Yes.
Like, didn't he just now say like, well, I think it's a toss-up if they get something
They're
done?
Talking.
Where he was like, they are, like an extension looks like it, is going to happen. Now it's a toss-up. Now it's like, dude, don't give us any news unless it's actually news that's coming our way.
I think that's their way, though, isn't it, Mason? Don't you think? Like, they have to report, so they almost have. It's like Shams and Giannis. Like, they almost have to make that. I don't think Schefter's as bad as Shams is, of course.
No,
but you almost have to make.
He's doing his job, but
right, you almost have to make things up to stay newsworthy and stay at the top of the news cycle.
Yeah. These people talked yesterday. Caleb Williams woke up and he saw his shadow. He went back to bed. Like, is that like, I don't know what's going on right now.
Well, I'm just saying that if the negotiations are ongoing, does leverage go up or down for Matt LaFleur? Because he had a lot of leverage with the amount of jobs open, right? I mean, just the fact of he could go be a coach at one of these 9 places pretty much no matter wherever he's going to get to pick, right? After Harbaugh got to pick. But now does he have leverage in the contract negotiations with Green Bay? Is he going to get close to that number? Does he want to get more than that number? It sounds like Green Bay is afraid to part ways with him right now, and they want to lowball him on purpose and make him make this decision for him right now, Mace.
That's kind of the way up there as well. Like, they're going to lowball them until they have no other choice, right? Or until it's like, all right, we have to make a decision. Our boy Andrew Brandt, deadline spur action, right? It's just like that's how this works. And Green Bay, no one is better than the Green Bay Packers organization at kind of making it to where it's like, okay, now we're at a deadline. We're going to make a decision. Do we really want this to move forward? For me, it's like, we haven't heard any talks, but, the trade conversation. I'm like, if you're not going to extend him, if you don't feel like having him in his last year of his contract, then you do need to have those conversations about trading him to a team with the Miami Dolphins bite, who might be interested with the Tennessee Titans come calling, young quarterback, all the stuff going on down there. So
send him to Vegas.
I feel like in my mind, as I've just been stewing on it for the week, that's the only way you get rid, you move on from Matt LaFleur is in a trade scenario. Like, you look at the coaches. Do you want another first year head coach? Do you want all these, another coordinator, another, person? Like, I don't know if Hafley doesn't get an offer. Like, what do you obviously keep him around, try to keep him being your defensive coordinator. But did you see those numbers from 24 to 25? Like, I mean, yeah, Micah Parsons, like, can we just say those last 4 weeks made those numbers go up? But that defense was not as good. Way less sacks, way less, really impact on games. So I don't know. Like we got to question that as well. If no one offers Hafley in this cycle with 12 teams, 10 teams available, that might say something for what we view him as a potential head coach.
Yeah, and if you want a defensive head coach, how is Jeff Hafley going to be above Brian Flores at all? Right. I mean, Flores has previous experience, was fired pretty much unjustly the last time he got fired.
Though also was probably not quite ready for that job, which he's now ready for. Clearly.
Yes. And you got to think Dolphins bring Shula in, right? Like, bring another Shula into the building. I mean, the Rams defensive coordinator, right?
Right.
I feel like there's a surplus of potential defensive coordinator candidates for head coaching jobs this year, right? I think there's a big number there, and only so many teams are going to be willing to go defensive-minded coach. A lot of teams want to have an offensive-minded head coach, and then you just let your defensive coordinator go and run the show out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talking text line. 414-677-1250 here on the Mason Crosby Show. Text in, give us a call. You can also find us on YouTube and on Twitter at WI Sports Radio, where a number of people are writing in. Tim wants to know, would you right now today, would you wish Matt LaFleur good luck in his future endeavors, or trade him, or would you sign him to an extension? You had to make a decision today.
Is this a direct? If I were in charge?
Yeah, you are Ed Policy.
You know how I feel. Like, I am not a believer of a coach shouldn't play out the last year of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, okay, we'll give you an extra year on your contract at X amount. Let's say, we'll bump it up to $10 million a year. Mm-hmm. We'll give you another year, give you a little security. I guess you got to add a year in order to raise that salary for next year, and then kind of go from there. And it's like, if you don't want that, you can tell us what you would prefer to do. Yeah. Do you want to play out your last year, or do you want us to try to trade for you to go somewhere else? Like, I think the Packers right now have a little leverage in that space where it's like they want LaFleur. I think they want the success that comes with Matt LaFleur as a head coach, especially in the regular season, making the playoff. Like, there's a lot of good things.
Sure.
But there's a lot of uncertainty too.
Yes.
Like,
I think that's a good way to put it.
If all of a sudden now, but then again, you look at the market and you say, like, is there another guy that we want to go get? John Harbaugh is going to, the Giants. Like, if there's not somebody that they're excited about, then that goes back to where now it's a stalemate. Like, LaFleur has a little bit of leverage in that deal as well. But I just cannot fathom them throwing out 3 to 4 years on top of this deal right now.
At $8 million a year?
That's
LaFleur won't take that. He won't take that. I wouldn't take
that. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but not
Harbaugh just got 20.
Thinks that, maybe the market's going to be $15 million a year.
Harbaugh's been coaching for 3 times as long and has won a Super Bowl and has a winning record in the playoffs.
Okay. They could throw that out. Say you go 3 year. We'll give you a 3-year extension.
What if they give, 3 year, $30 million?
3 year, $30 million. I could see him do something like that. Right. And if I'm LaFleur, I'd still probably say no. I'd be like, I'll play out I'll coach out this last year because I'm going to make, I'm going to make 2 times that after next year if y'all don't extend me during the season. If y'all don't give me the huge contract. Good. So I think that's probably where it will land, in my opinion. I'm wrong a lot on like how they operate up there in Green Bay, but I would see that being the case where they're going to say, like, all right, we'll give you a 2-year extension. You got 3 years, to kind of prove it here. And we'll give you $10 million a year. Yeah. Type of deal. And then just see where it goes and then kind of put it in Matt's hands to say, all right, well, I'll coach out this last year of my contract, and then we'll see what happens either during the season or after. And then, if they go 7-0, if they, make a run all of a sudden, then, do they give him a 4-year, $20 million a year extension? And then everything's right in the world. So I would bet on myself, like from a Matt LaFleur perspective in this moment, that I'm going to get this thing turned around. We're going to be back in prominence and we're going to go and chase a championship next year. I'm not taking a bad deal just to stay put in Green Bay.
Mace, could you lean in a little bit to the I just want to show off your new hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just show off it. Yeah.
Those logos get smaller and smaller every year.
Yeah.
I know.
Flashier.
I wasn't sure about it, but I like it. The hat's nice. Yeah, it fits my head a lot better than the ones that they had
with some new
when I was there.
Yeah, with your big head.
I know. This big dome, man. They'd give me like the medium large, and it was like the flex fit, and I'm like, this is not a one size fits all, like stretching that thing out.
It wouldn't have fit Sparky.
Ashley Washburn from WTMJ Channel 4 in Milwaukee will join us next. We'll talk some Packers, we'll talk some Bucks, and just have some fun. I don't know, Packer season's over, so like nothing's fun right now, but we're working on it, and Ashley's going to help us through that. Maybe we'll get to sit on the couch and she'll be the therapist for this next session.
Ooh, I like that.
This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers and Mason's hat. This is the Mason Crosby Show. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. Mason Crosby and his new hat in the house.
And his wedding ring.
And his new hoodie. Oh, and by the way, his wedding ring.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
So you're
contract in here. I was expecting.
Yeah, no. Nani and Poppy. Is it Nani and Poppy? Is that what you said?
Mimi and Papa.
Mimi and Papa.
Look, I got.
So they got married.
I got the throwback.
What is this?
What, you got blue?
Yeah, I
got multiple hats.
Is that a Bucks hat?
I hooked it up.
The Packers don't have blue
That's
hats.
the Acme.
No, it's the throwback. Yeah, it's
right. They got married the same year of my birth.
Oh, nice.
50 years ago.
That's a great year.
Oh
my
Well,
God.
Tommy.
Sorry.
You guys are the best teammates, coworkers, friends a guy can have.
Mason.
We're glad you're still with us, Mitch.
Sorry.
We're glad you're still with us.
Oh my God.
I hate the outro. On that note, I'm sure she's so pleased to come in after, like, Mitch, thanks for still being alive. Well, she's still alive, and she absolutely does a yeoman's job, a great job covering our Packers and our Bucks and our Brewers and all the sports here in Wisconsin from TMJ4 in Milwaukee. Ashley Washburn in the house. Good day. Good high noon to you, Ashley.
Good high noon to you guys. And Mitch, I'm so glad you're still with us. I was worried about that one too.
Hey, father time undefeated.
That's true. That's true.
Ask Aaron Rodgers.
Just keeping on there, Mitch. We got this.
Thoughts and prayers out to Aaron, by the way. Yeah.
Ashley, really appreciate you jumping on. We've been talking obviously about the end of the season, Matt LaFleur, everything that's going on, right? And who would have thought, Matt LaFleur with the record he has, still a year on his contract, all the things that are kind of obvious in front of us, that there'd be a conversation that are they going to or are they not going to keep a coach of that caliber? What is your feeling from talking to, people in Green Bay, from just, your gut? Like, what is your feeling of what will happen with Matt LaFleur here this offseason?
It's so crazy to think that this is where the season took us, because I was talking to Wayne Larrivee on Monday when we were taping our last episode of Packers Live, and we were talking about that Week 14 win over the Bears. The Packers have the 1 seed in the NFC. They're playing for home field advantage, and then all of a sudden it was just like injury after injury, and then you lose the Bears in such horrific fashion, and then you lose 4 straight to end the regular season, and now you're playing on the road in Chicago and again lose in such a horrific fashion that was like a replica of Week 16 where you control the game and then collapse when it was time to kind of close the door on the Bears. And so I think it's difficult because I think there was a lot of great things that happened in the beginning of the year. The injuries highlighted some issues that they were able to, maybe put glue on or put duct tape on, but there were areas of depth that just weren't addressed. The secondary continues to be an issue. The offensive line, in my opinion, was a disappointment. And then you go back to that wild card game, and I just think about the timeouts at the end of that game. I mean, we're burning timeouts because you don't have enough men on the field. What do you mean? This is a playoff game. It's weird that there hasn't been anything that's been figured out. And I was hearing you guys talk about this in the previous segment because there are, 8 jobs available since the Giants seem to have figured their stuff out. And if they were going to want to go after a different head coach and kind of change the tide in Green Bay, wouldn't you already want to be doing that? Wouldn't you want to have the best possible outcome where you could bring in the best guy? Or a lot of people have talked about, if you wanted to keep Jeff Hafley and possibly promote him, you might as well do that before another team tries to snag him, kind of situation. So I do think a deal will be made because it's been dragged out for so long. But I can't imagine where they're trying to meet in the middle right now because, it was a really disappointing end to a season that had so much Super Bowl aspirations at the beginning of the year, and then just a completely, it feels like the season was a complete wash. It's a wash in any regards when you don't make it to the Super Bowl, but in this fashion where we were talking about home field advantage and the 1 seed, and you barely sneak in and lose in the first round to your rival.
Yeah, I think you hit a lot of things there, Ashley, that like just are very, accurate and true, and they just like they land. And how this works, right? It's like, all right, you get rid of like the veteran, you get rid of Aaron, myself, like the team changes. LaFleur, it's LaFleur's show now. It's Goody's team. You got Love at the helm. That first year, it's like, all right, that felt good. It's like, okay, they got the 7 seed. Like we see some positives, some really good stuff. Jordan Love gets hurt in the next year, but they still find a way to put together a really good season. And so you're optimistic. And then, like you said, this year, just like this was the year. It's like you push the chips in, you go get Micah Parsons, you build this team, you sign some high dollar free agents, you make some changes, and that didn't land. So my question to you, let's go off of Matt LaFleur for a second. Like, where does Gutekunst fall in this, right? Like, he missed on Nate Hobbs as of right now. Nate Hobbs swears, I heard in his interview, that he's going to, be one of the best defenders in the league. He's coming back, all that. Like, he wasn't really that in the Raiders, so I'm not sure how that works, but where does this fall? Do you think they're up there trying to figure out, all right, are we extending Goody? Are we getting Goody's deal done, or deciding on a GM, and then we'll decide on what we do with the head coach? Because it sounds like the structure up there is going to be changing as well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because obviously, free agents are going to be hit or miss. If you look back at the previous season, it was an incredible free agency for the Packers between Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, and then you get to this year and you do pay a guy like Nate Hobbs maybe a little too much money for what we saw from him, as well as I believe it was Aaron Banks. That was another guy that they brought in who really couldn't live up to the bill, as well as bringing in Darian Kennard and different guys like that. And so it was a very disappointing aspect where the additions that they brought in this offseason, minus Micah Parsons, I think that was the best. That's a move that the Packers would make again. Yes, you gave up so many first-round draft picks, but we saw how he had elevated this Packers defense, and we also saw how bad it was when he left, and it shows you how impactful he was. But I don't know. Bill Huber just put out a tweet yesterday, kind of gauging what people think. Just, fans always have opinions, as you guys can attest to, of what would you do in this situation? Fire Matt LaFleur, only fire Brian Gutekunst, fire both, or pray that people can actually stay healthy and hope for a better year come 2026. And I want to say there were almost 18,000 votes on his tweet, and 70% of them said pray that they don't get hit with an injury bug like they did this past year. So I don't know if I would go to the extent of firing him or getting rid of him, but I do think if you have another season like this where you go back to back and it's just a complete wash, you've got to find a way to clean house or just start over. Because I even go back to the NFL draft in 2024. There's a lot of people that wish Cooper DeJean was a Green Bay Packer rather than who they ended up drafting in that first round.
Think?
So
Yep.
That's, I think, another miss, which I get, they needed a bolster.
Well, again, I mean, you could have TJ Watt, and then you wouldn't have had to go and make this trade for, so as a player, I never played the woulda, coulda, shoulda game, but now I'm on this side, so I can play this game a little bit. And
you can.
So I'm going to ask about like the Micah Parsons trade. Was that Goody? Was them trying to shore up a defense that they were a little, unsure about? Because if Micah Parsons isn't on that defense all season, what does this year look like, right? Like, what does that season look like? Because he was all everything for that first 12 games. So had they not made that move, and this season goes really poorly, are we even talking about or are Goody and Matt more than likely on the chopping block? Had it not ended the way it did, even in the fashion, the crazy fashion it did this season?
It's twofold, because I think about the Packers pass rush, and Lucas Van Ness obviously missed a huge chunk of time. So you're grateful that you had a guy like Micah Parsons, and then you have a guy like Rashawn Gary, who started out the season hot, at one point led the NFL in sacks, and then don't know where he went the last, 10 weeks of the season. But I think when I go back to that Baltimore Ravens game, you do miss the Kenny Clark, because not only, you lost Devontae Wyatt. And so then there's that aspect of it of, okay, there's no run stopper. You have no Micah Parsons. You have no Kenny Clark because you got rid of that run stopper for that trade. And then you also don't have a Devontae Wyatt because of injuries. And so I think it could have gone both ways. If you didn't trade for Micah Parsons, yes, you still have Kenny Clark. But if the injuries played out the way that they still did, you're still down Devontae Wyatt. You're still down Lucas Van Ness. And maybe Rashawn Gary. I mean, I think Rashawn Gary should have ended the season with flying colors, knowing how much traction that Micah Parsons was getting. So it's twofold. I think it was the right move to trade for Micah Parsons, but it also just, I think, highlights the fact that they need to add an extra D tackle or two this offseason, because there was nobody there when Devontae Wyatt went down.
Well, and Ashley, you bring up that point. Ashley Washburn joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show. What are some other ways that Brian Gutekunst could get out of the doghouse in Green Bay through player acquisition, targets in the draft? What are some groups on the field that you think they have to address if Brian Gutekunst wants to get back into good standing this offseason?
First and foremost, you've got to find a way to make that secondary compete with teams. I mean, that was bread and butter for some offenses this offseason. I mean, I think back to the first Bears game in week 16. I mean, they were just lighting up Keyshawn Nixon in a handful of ways, and they kept throwing his way because they knew they had him every single time. I think you've got to find a way to bolster that unit. And then I think, they're going to get into an interesting point this offseason of where they've got to figure out, okay, who could you possibly retain as free agents? Because they're going to lose a handful of guys. But then they're also going to deal with some salary cap gymnastics of who can we get rid of that would allow us to make some of those offseason moves. And I think of guys like Elton Jenkins and Rashawn Gary. So maybe that provides an opportunity to make some moves. But I think you've got to find a way to bolster that offensive line as well as just the secondary. Those are the two that really stuck out to me. And maybe make some changes in special teams. I think that's maybe the biggest thing that could bring some grace is they've been talking about it for a few years, and maybe Mason, you can speak to it of just maybe there needs to be a change there. I think the way that we saw the year play out, this is the year to make some change, especially if Matt LaFleur is going to stay at the helm. There's got to be some sort of change there.
Well, I think it actually comes down to more philosophical changes than necessarily if it's the right answer, fire Bisaccia, right? Like, obviously he is a veteran coach. Like guys will run through a wall for him, but you just don't have the right guys doing that. Like I look at these other teams that are good. You look at, Steelers had Skoranek, and he's just he plays on offense, but he's a special teams ace. We brought Simmons in, but he couldn't, we decided he couldn't make the team. And then he goes and blocks a punt in a critical game. Like there are guys out there that are special teams aces. Like teams have had these guys all over since in my playing days, through the course of time. You have to dedicate a space like a specialist, like a kicker, punter, long snapper, to a guy that is the culture driver, the physical guy on that team, on those special teams, that is going to make everybody around him elevate and know what they're doing. They're going to know the ins and outs of what's expected. So to think that the Green Bay Packers just leave that off the table. Like they're just like, we'll put anyone back there to return kicks. We'll, piece together a coverage team, all that. So they have to change philosophically in a lot of ways before any coach or any person can come in there and just, get this thing right. So I think that's the big answers for this offseason. Can LaFleur change philosophically? Can they decide we're going to invest in certain toughness aspects that this team can hang their hat on, and how does that look, right?
Yeah, you bring up a great point, because I think once we kind of saw the downfall of this season, and I go back to when we were the Packers first back after that Broncos game, it would have been week 17, they were back after they had just got blown out of the water by the Ravens. one of the questions we just asked was like, what's going on with this team? I mean, like, is it a locker room issue? Is it coaching? All the above. And so many of the answers were, we need to look in the mirror as a man and figure out what is going on with us. This is not a coaching issue. It's an us issue. And then to see what happened that wild card round, and Javon Bullard, I think, was probably the most vocal post game, saying like, this had nothing to do with the Bears. It was nothing that the Bears brought to the table. It had all to do with us not being able to close it out. And so I think that you bring up a great point of maybe I think there was a great chemistry amongst this group. But at the same time, there weren't those guys that just were able to take it over the edge. And I think Micah Parsons was a big piece of that on defense, but he left after he got injured. I know, his partner, I think, was getting ready to have another child of theirs. So he wasn't in the locker room, and it wasn't the same after that injury, especially because you already lost Tucker Kraft, and then you have another big blow like that. And it's just like, gosh, it doesn't stop.
I will say the specific injuries that happened, you lost Tucker Kraft, who is a culture like tough guy. Micah Parsons was there till week 12. Like for me, that's shocking that you lose Micah Parsons and then like literally your whole, like everything falls apart. Like that to me, like mentally weak. That to me triggers a lot of like, okay, red flags. What's going on up there, right? And it's a demand of excellence. When you got guys after a wild card game saying like, we got to do more, or we got to be better, or we got to do like, yeah, those are sound bites, but there is a mindset of what demand, like what accountability is being called to these guys, and how are they being coached? So it's like, you don't go into a game like that, and if you get beat by a team that just is having a better season, is better than you lick your wounds and you move on. But I feel like there's a culture thing. And again, like I said, Bisaccia, I played 1 year with him. The dude is like, he is going to demand toughness and physicality and all those things. But if you don't give him the guys that will go out there and do it, then you're just throwing mud at a wall then, right? Like you got nothing to hang your hat on.
And right now, like, how much faith do you have in Matt LaFleur to bring in a guy that exemplifies toughness at this point? Because he's given you no backing that he will either bring a guy in that does, or let him execute the way he needs to on that, Ashley.
Are you referring to players or like coaching staff?
Well, coaching in general. Like with Bisaccia, everyone's talking about he's an old school guy, hard-nosed, to the grindstone type person, but like no one saw that in his tenure with Green Bay.
No, I think you bring up a fair point, which I will give credit to Matt Schneidman. He put out an article right before that wild card game, just going back to how every time, it seems like special teams of the last few years has kind of come back to bite them in some of those postseason games. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the Packers decide to move forward. I mean, I also was just laughing at you guys bringing up, it seems like ESPN seems to be tiptoeing a bit about what's happening up in Green Bay.
Matt LaFleur is paying ESPN so much money to be his PR team right now. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Different reports every day.
I mean, just obnoxious.
Yeah, which obviously we've seen some of that with the Bucks and Shams. And so again, it'll be interesting to just see how this all plays out. But I think the fact that it's stretching out makes me think he will be with the Packers this upcoming season. But I also think you guys bring up a great point of it'd be interested to see him get traded to another team and see kind of what happens in that aspect. But I wouldn't say there's obviously a lot of the big name players that were backing Matt LaFleur. And I understand some of that is a PR standpoint. You don't want to show that there's this great divide up in Green Bay. But I think the fact that you had Micah Parsons come out and say, this is the best coach I've ever had, or at the end of the day, as well as Jordan Love saying, I think he still needs to be at the helm of this team. That I think is a weighing factor of if your quarterback, your franchise quarterback that you are investing an insane amount of money in wants to be coached by Matt LaFleur, then I think that's a way that they try to keep that the same going into 2026, because we've seen that be a divide in other franchises. And I think the Ravens,
what are the odds that you bring in another Matt LaFleur with this group and like gets it done year one? I mean, the team we had in 2019, you were led by Aaron. You had this, this group of core, veteran players. core veteran coaching staff, all of this stuff, like that is not the norm of like, and after a time of 13 years of, a lot of success with McCarthy. So, be careful what you wish for. I know all those guys, like it's really good up there in Green Bay right now, right? Like as far as being a player, they, the food is amazing. The staff, everybody, like everything is taken care of. So it's a cushy place to be. So you gotta combat some of that comfort with a demand and then an accountability to go out and work and push yourself past a point that feels comfortable on the field, so that whenever it comes into those playoff games, you are going to stretch yourself and be the best version of what you can be on the field. So I don't know how you change that, but it is interesting. All these other teams firing coordinators and different things like that. Until this head coaching job is figured out, until they figure that out, like we need to know what changes are going to be made in that staff that are going to drive the needle forward as well.
I can imagine that's why it's being stretched out a bit, because they're trying to figure out the answers to those questions. But yeah, I think you hit that right on the money.
Awesome. Hopefully it's not just that they're trying to figure out, but they're telling Matt LaFleur, this needs to change. This is unacceptable. What has gone on here is unacceptable, and there need to be changes. You guys are too nice. Enough of this nice crap. We're too nice here in Wisconsin.
Too nice.
Like it's too much. Let's call somebody. Like there need to be changes. It's not an option. You want to keep your job, Matt? There need to be changes, and you need to toughen up, and your staff needs to toughen up, and that there needs to be a culture change, because like Brett just wrote, it's too much like a country club.
Well, he
said I'm too country club like.
No.
Is it too country club like?
I read it as
Mason is too country club like. I was like, what?
Because
I didn't miss a stinking game.
You guys are so young that you don't know how to read yet. It's not your fault. When you're as old as I am, you'll know how to read.
That's true.
Put your glasses on
Thank you,
yeah.
Daddy Thunder.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
That's Uncle Thunder.
Clipped.
That's Uncle Thunder for you.
Nope, he said it.
No,
we heard it.
No, I don't want that.
I do think there like that aspect is there. Brett, on YouTube is right. There is a little bit of that country club aspect. If I'm Matt LaFleur though, too, right? He is under contract. He's the head coach of this football team, regardless of what they do. Like he has another year on his contract. Like if I'm him, I'd be coming out and I'd say, like, start making some of these decisions. Like kind of force the hand a little bit, right? Like, hey, culture wasn't right. We didn't have the right, guys in place coaching these positions. He already called out offensive line. Make a change. I don't want anyone to get fired. I hate when guys lose their jobs, but it is part of the business. And I think if Matt wants to get paid and do all this, if I'm him, I'm going out right now and I'm like making the call. I'm saying, hey, we're making these changes. Extend me or not, like I'm moving forward and chasing a championship. Like I'd love to see that mindset instead of this just like, we'll see what happens. That bothers me. But yep. Ashley, what do you think is going to happen? We'll let you go. Do you think Goody, LaFleur, everyone's back and we're rolling this thing back and talking about it for the next 8 months here?
I do think everyone will come back. I think there's a chance you could see some changes in special teams. I don't know if that's necessarily Rich, but we'll kind of just see what happens on that aspect, but there will be some sort of coaching changes. I'm interested to see what happens with Jeff Hafley amidst this search, because I think he's had 5-6 interviews now with different teams. And so I guess the big question is whether or not he gets hired in this coaching cycle, or will it for sure be next year, because he is a hot guy in the market. And, of course, the Packers would love to retain him. I think there's a lot of guys on that defense that would still love to have another year under him, because even though it wasn't that defense we were expecting it to be this season, they had preached all preseason about how this was going to be a havoc-wreaking defense. Well, we didn't see that necessarily the numbers for forced fumbles and interceptions. I think you can have another year under him. It would only bode well for the Packers, but also how great for him if he can get a job within this coaching cycle. And it lets everyone know the Packers do know what they're doing, because I think there were a lot of people scratching their head when Jeff Hafley got hired as the D coordinator for the Packers, because that was on nobody's mind. They were looking at a bunch of different guys. So, good for him if he can get a job, but I also know that there's a lot of Packers that would love to still see him with that organization come 2026.
All right, Ashley Washburn, TMJ4 in Milwaukee. Thank you so much for the time this high noon afternoon, and we'll be sure to call on you. We didn't even get to the Bucks. We will next time. And we appreciate you jumping on today.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You
Thanks,
as well. Ashley Washburn, again, on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Lots more to get to. Tim Allen in the second hour of the show. This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon.
A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Hour number 2, the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Mitch Nellis out for the rest of the show. Tommy Wirtz moving on over here. Still here, though. Packers all-time leading scorer, way more points than Ryan Longwell. Mason Crosby.
We shouldn't have made those jokes about Mitch and his age.
Right.
Gosh.
I know. Yeah. So he's just going through some stuff. He was trying to fight through it today. Didn't make it today. He'll be back tomorrow. I'm pretty confident in that. But the Mason Crosby Show will move on. We were, however, going to do some picks. I'm going to push that back to tomorrow. And I have something from yesterday, Mason, that I think would be pretty interesting for you. Andy Herman, Pack-A-Day Podcast, joins us each and every Wednesday, or did throughout the season. He doesn't get paid to do it anymore, but I still think he'd be open to it because Andy's the absolute best. So we'll see. I'm just going to put the ball in his court. I had asked him yesterday of some of the remaining free agents going for the Green Bay Packers this year, whether it's Rasheed Walker, Quay Walker, Malik Willis, who do you expect to be back from that Green Bay Packers batch versus who you expect to be gone? And I just asked him about the free agents. And Mason, yesterday, Andy Herman took it upon himself. He said, let me pull the whole roster up. I will tell you who I believe will be here.
What a dog.
And who will not be here. Just listen to Wisconsin Sports Radio Network's version of Eminem off on this one right here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible because there's so many, and I think it's almost better to look at this position by position. Quarterback, Jordan's back. He's the core of the team, and then you're going to have to find a new backup quarterback. Malik will be elsewhere playing on a bigger contract with an opportunity to start somewhere.
Miami
running
back
back
before.
Possibly.
Or Jeff Hafley.
Jeff Hafley, yeah.
And John.
Running back, I think you're going to have Josh Jacobs back. I think that's going to be a restructure. I don't think that's going to be a release. And then I think you have 2 interesting restricted free agent decisions with Wilson and with Chris Brooks. I bet one of them ends up being back. And then you're going to hope like heck Marshawn Lloyd can actually stay healthy, probably invest in something there as well. Wide receiver, it's going to be basically the same group, but Romeo Doubs will be gone. Romeo Doubs, if you need a wide receiver, probably a good investment. But when you already have paid Christian Watson for this year on an extension, have Reed Wicks, and just drafted Golden and Williams in the 1st and 3rd round, you just have to use that money elsewhere. Doubs will get a good amount on the open market. You'll get Kraft back. Musgrave will stay as the backup, and then they'll play around with the number 3 tight end position. Offensive line is the big one on offense that's going to be completely in flux. You know that Jordan Morgan, Anthony Belton, and Zach Tom are going to make up 3 of those 5 spots in all likelihood. Aaron Banks, I think, is likely to be back, even though I think if you look at his contract, he shouldn't. That's probably another conversation for another day. I think they'll look at bringing back Sean Ryan. Rasheed Walker will be gone. Jacob Monk will have an opportunity to compete. Don't sleep on Travis Glover, who was injured all year either, for a potential competing spot. And I think they're going to have to invest in both some value free agents and some draft picks to try to get some competition on that line.
So that's just offense. That was 90 seconds. He went through the entire offense right there.
What a G.
Any of those names jump out to you, Mason, as surprising he would be back versus surprised that they wouldn't bring him back in?
That was right in line with what I was what I was envisioning.
Well, let's go through the defensive side then, as Andy Herman has the rest of it still to come.
Interior defensive line, you get Devontae Wyatt back. Everybody else is back in that spot. I think you need one more guy to solidify that next to Devontae Wyatt.
You need a fat
Colby
guy.
Wooden. Yeah, make Colby Wooden the 3, Carl Brooks the 4, and then whoever you want is the 5, Warren Brinson, etc. End is interesting. You have Micah back. LVN will be back. The 5th-year option will be interesting. And then after that, you have a choice on Enagbare and releasing Gary. I think Gary's gone. Enagbare will be, I think, based on the number that he can get. If it's under 10, I think there's a chance he's back. If it's anything at or around that, I think he's gone. And then you'll have, guys like Brenton Cox is an interesting restricted free agent, but most importantly, Barron Sorrell and Colin Oliver kind of taking the steps up as hopefully like the number 4 and 5 guys. They might need to find that 3 again, but maybe that's Enagbare or Gary. Inside linebacker, Quay is probably the most interesting one to me. I think that comes down to number. If it's around 12 or plus million, I think he's gone. If it's closer to 8 or 9 million, I think he's back. But I think that's one of the most interesting decisions of the offseason for Green Bay. Of course, you're still going to have Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, Edgerrin Cooper there. Corner, you have the Trayvon Diggs decision. It seems like Keyshawn Nixon wants a raise, and I think you are more looking at, do you want to save the $5 million? So I think that's an interesting one. Where do you slot Valentine and some of the other ones? Corner's going to have to be a big change, and then safety should be almost identical. McManus, the other one.
Need some corner help. Need some corner help.
Anyone else see like the Eminem rap god aura over Andy Herman right there? There is Andy Herman in about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Yeah. Ran down the entire Packers roster to see who would be back and who would not be back. We heard the offensive side, just wrapped up with the defensive side there. Seriously, Andy Herman, a freak in the most kind way I can do that. Quay Walker, to me, though, Mason, almost non-negotiable. I want to see him back on the Green Bay Packers, and that's something that back in 2022, after first year of Quay, I don't know if I ever thought he was going to get a second contract with this team. Yeah, for sure. I think he earned the payday with how he played this year. Stayed healthy. He's kind of cleaned up the goofy mistakes, penalties, certain things that he did like out of immaturity in different situations. So I think he has earned a contract. And the only thing I probably disagree there with Andy is that they let him go if his number's higher than 12. Like, I feel like he's going to get that on the open market. Right. So like he's not going to take anything less than a significant number from the Green Bay Packers before he tests that market. So if they go at him too low, he will more than likely be gone. 414-677-1250. That is the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Reactions to Andy Herman's personnel heading into 2026. Do you want to see Romeo Doubs back? Do you want to see Quay Walker back? Are there guys on there that you thought he says are going to be a part of this team that you do not want to be a part of this team? 414-677-1250. The interesting conversation he talked about with Quay and Enagbare. Well, he also brought up the decision of Trayvon Diggs, right, at that point. And this is a guy that they brought in the last week of the season, played a decent amount against Minnesota, and then he got one snap in that postseason game. Mason, how do you make a decision on that contract then? Because you don't have a large sample size. You know that his previous playing experience doesn't necessarily go in his favor and recency bias. What is the decision process for a Trayvon Diggs type contract? That might be one of the tougher decisions that they're going to have to sort through here in the offseason during this free agency process. Like, what is his number? Like, I think it's significant, right? It's 20-something. So I think they're going to really have to dive deep into that. Now, you're not like $5 million Keyshawn Nixon. He has another year on his deal, right? Like, right. And like you force him, like, is he going to hold out or do what? Like, I mean, I don't feel like saving $5 million to like get rid of a guy that's been on your team. You just, again, accountability. Somebody stand up in that room and say, Keyshawn, you're going to return kicks. And Keyshawn, you're going to play special teams. He was better in the nickel. We're going to move you inside. And that could be an option, right? What is Trayvon Diggs' number for next year? Oh, okay. It's got to be over 20, right? Like, he got a huge deal, right? He got paid $500,000 just for the game he played on week 18. So if he's making over 20, like that's a tough one. That's a tough call. They're going to be strapped with cash anyways, with all the moves, all the stuff they've done. Rashawn Gary, is more than likely gone. I don't know how you bring in like Andy said, Enagbare back if he's up towards that $10 million number. The number I have right here heading into 2026 is 14.5. It's a $15 million cap hit for Trayvon Diggs. That's actually not as bad as the plan has to be to restructure it from the beginning once you get released on that, right? So exactly. Regardless, he's either going to get less than that somewhere else or less than that in Green Bay, it feels like. Let's head to the phone lines. We got Dale in Oak Creek here. Dale, you're on the Mason Crosby Show. How we doing, Dale?
Oh, man. I just wanted to say I love Mason Crosby. I just want to say hi. But,
what's up, Dale?
But I just wanted to say, how is the future going to be with Matt LaFleur? And do you think he's going to be a good coach in 2026?
Man, I mean, there we go. Thanks for the call, Dale.
That's what we're trying to decide here, Dale. I mean, we've been talking about it all week, and we're just trying to lean in and just understand. Like, he is a good coach. Like, let's not get that wrong. Like, he has had success. But some things, culture, some things have to change. And it's not just from his perspective. It is like an overarching culture change that this organization has to seek, right? It is like they've had so much success against the Bears, against all these teams. We get so excited, like thinking, oh my gosh, look at that energy the Bears bring. It's because they have not been able to beat the Packers. Why would the Packers get up and like have this mindset like this? This is our Super Bowl. We have to beat the Bears every time we play them because you've just dominated them. But that's not the case anymore. So this offseason, now you have some fuel that could be a catalyst for this organization to shift its mindset, shift its culture. The Bears are going to be something to be reckoned with. The Vikings are coming up. The Lions are going to be tough again. Like, our division is not a cakewalk anymore. How are we going to combat that?
2007 rookie year, right? Yep. And you lost to the Bears both games that year.
Yeah, we did.
And
went 13-3.
In that offseason, was there anything that directly brought that up? And try to go back and remember that far if you can, but was Big Mike in there saying, like, you can't do that against this team? This is something that needs to change. It needs to shift. You need to get up for this game. Or is it just, hey, we were 13-3 last year. We lose to the Bears twice. Like, we're going to lose 3 games anyway at this point.
Yeah, you're more looking at, okay, we were 13-3. You don't want to lose to the Bears. Like, but you won the North. You got to the NFC Championship. You're more concerned about how do you get past that championship game? How do you not let those moments happen again? Which unfortunately they did, and they do, right? But we did win a Super Bowl in 3 years after that. Mm-hmm. So there was a building block of success that grew from that moment and galvanized that team. And then we dominated the North, right? It was just like, it was dominance in the North. And that was the mindset. McCarthy came in, you win the North, and you chase world championships. It was funny for a while. His slide said world's championship. And obviously, Aaron, everyone, it was just like, how many like what worlds are we playing? That might've been the first trigger in Aaron's brain of like, are there more worlds out there? What's happening? Like thinking? Coach McCarthy said it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll seek this thing out. But I think it was just, it doesn't have to be rocket science. It's a concise, like consistent mindset of how do you operate and have a process and a mindset that you dominate the teams in the North. You go and you tried. Aaron's mindset, it was simple. Like when it was 16 games, it was you win all your home games and you split your road games. You're 12-4. You're more than likely a top 2 seed and everything's right in front of you. You're probably going to win your division. You're going to be really good, right? It's a simple mindset. It's not just because it's simple doesn't make it easy though, right? You have to plod along and plug along. So I think that's the plan in place has to be, how do we simplify this? We don't make it about the Bears. You don't make it about the Bears. You don't make it about the Vikings. You don't make it about the Lions. You say, how are the Green Bay Packers, how does this team take back dominance of this division, of this league, and make everybody scared to come play us? Because I don't think anyone was scared to play this team this year. They were just like, gosh, Micah Parsons, that defense, we just have a plan. Don't let him affect the game, and we can try to win this thing in the end. That was kind of seemed like everyone's recipe, and that's how success happened against this Packers team.
How many teams?
That can't be the case.
How many teams did you actually fear when you played, though? Like you were like
Seattle in 20. Gosh, what was whenever they were the
Legion of Boom?
Legion of Boom. That defense was different. Like when you're watching on the sideline and you're just like I don't know if Aaron should play in this game. Like,
wow.
Like it was just like, I'm not sure we want to even put him out there. Like in my mind, I'm just standing there like they are different, right? There were some teams, and sometimes that's they had a good defense for a while, but it's like sometimes it's a flash in the pan, right? Like you build something up and it's unbelievable, and then it's like it fizzles out. It's hard to sustain that. So you want to find a way that you are consistently good, and then you find greatness in moments in a season. And that's just what this Green Bay Packers team is lacking right now. How do they find greatness, sustain it for a season, and go and get to that ultimate goal.
Sustain
right?
it week to week. I mean, they found
game to game, right?
They
and
found
like
greatness.
half to half.
They
right?
found greatness after 2 weeks. They found it. They lost it immediately in week 3 against Cleveland. They immediately lost it. They lost it against Carolina. They lost it against Chicago. They had found it. They could not sustain it even just on a week-to-week basis at any point this year. It felt like Crosby.
What blows my mind, though, too, is, when we talked about Halfley and like his, prospects and all that, like, you had Micah Parsons, and I know teams like played different and they got the ball out of their hands quick and like all that, but like those sack numbers, 11 less sacks with Micah Parsons on your team than you had in 2024.
Well, and he had 12 and a half of them.
I know. It's like, so what happened? Like what's going on there? And I get Micah Parsons is a pressure machine. So it's like, you get pressure, these quarterbacks are getting the ball out of their hands, trying not to just let him destroy a game. I understand that. But that should breed something amazing on the offensive side of the ball. You got these teams panicking all the time. Like, you have to go and just like cut their throats, right? Like, take them down on the other side of the ball. And those things didn't play well off each other this year. So they have to find that recipe. And there's not a simple way. The simple way is culture and mindset and how you plot along. But it has to be implemented consistently every day, and everyone has to buy in.
It is the Mason Crosby Show. We are presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Going to get off some Packer conversation, tell you all about the new show that's here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, and who better than to do that than the franchise, Tim Allen, as he returns back to your airwaves here. He's going to join us on the other side. We'll recap, I'm sure, what yesterday was like with Hot Stove Weekly. And, of course, we'll get a couple of Brewers takes from him. Mace, you haven't worn your Brewers shirt since this year.
I mean, have they reported back? I mean,
no, it is International Signing Day, however, today, which is a big day. That's how you get your Jesus Mates and your Jackson Churios in the organization here.
Oh, is that what that means? You sign international players?
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that out.
You know what, dude? I'm going to turn your mic off. I'm in
just
control
mute me.
now.
Sorry. Yeah.
We'll talk to Tim Allen on the other side. It is the Mason Crosby Show. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Oh, when that music hits, you got to know by now here. When that music hits, it is the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wirtz here with the Packers all-time leading scorer. Just nothing but like anger and frustration when talking about the Green Bay Packers right now. So we figured let's pivot a little bit.
Yeah.
Got some Brewers conversation to get into. Brand new show, of course, too. Hot Stove Weekly, plus the Potawatomi post-game show that's coming here to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network after each and every Brewers game this season. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, my new friend. I guess this is weird. Like, I didn't think you guys would ever be in the same area together. And it's these two guys I work with now. Tim Allen, the franchise, joining us here. What's going on, Tim?
What is happening, you guys? All right, Mason Crosby, nice to meet you. I can't wait to meet you face to face.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, but let me tell you this. I owe you a beer. I
Okay.
know I do. Because I had you win me a Super Bowl in fantasy football.
Nice. I'll take that beer all day. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it came down to a couple of your kicks late in the season, and it was a beautiful thing. Mason, man, it's great. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be there for you. You know, that's that wasn't always, you know, there were the fantasy football, once that came into the realm of NFL, that was such an interesting time because there was this love-hate, and then you'd go to away stadiums and people would be yelling at you because you're on the opposing team, but then they're like, I kind of want you to have a good game because you're on my fantasy football team. So it kind of helped ease some of that criticism. But, how was your first show yesterday? I know like everything looked great. It looked like listeners were engaged, locked in. How is it working with Tommy? I mean, have you given him a nickname yet? We have about 45 for him. So tell us what it's like being back on the radio, crushing it here at the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Yeah, no, it's great, guys. It really is. And, I've got a tremendous amount of gratitude for us being able to hang out together as Brewers fans. And I just came out of a meeting here with Sparky and some of the staff members, and I was telling them that being a Brewers fan and I love the team since I was 8 years old, and I love the Brewers, everything about them, and I collect all this stuff, and I got bins and bins in my basement of just old Brewer caps and pennants. Ooh, I might want to teach people what a pennant actually
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm dating myself there, but I'm really, really fired up to continue this thing. And 20 years, man, in any job is pretty impressive, but this crazy world of radio and heading into year 21 on the same show, that's a testament to the Brewers fans. And there's a love affair with the state of Wisconsin and this Brewers baseball team. It just, it may have started with Bob Uecker, and it's still, we're gonna remain to have Bob Uecker in our minds when we talk Brewers baseball. And Tommy, you found out last night how I tag the show each and every night after we get done. It's, Smile Wisconsin. Bob Uecker is smiling back. We'll
That's
keep
right.
him top tonight, but really the state of Wisconsin just adores the Milwaukee Brewers in a little different way, Mason, than they love the Packers. The Packers is more of this, 100-year thing. The Brewers aren't going to compete with that, but it's starting to catch up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, especially with what last year was. Like, what a fun summer that was. It was probably the most baseball I've watched in years. Just being able to cover it on the radio. I really enjoyed the summer of the Brewers and like what they were able to do, the power of friendship and all the things that came along with it. So what are you expecting from this Brewers team this year? I mean, like, what pieces are they looking to add? Like, what prospects or players are you kind of geared up to kind of get everybody excited about the Brewers? Because Tommy, he told me that it's International Signing Day. I'm glad he explained that
Which
to me.
means you sign international players in case
Yes,
you didn't
exactly.
know.
Money,
Yeah.
6 months, let's sign him.
Yeah, right.
No, good question. And it starts really what the Brewers, Mason, are going through is what David Stern started, some 8 8 years ago or 9 years ago or so. And he came in, and I've always wondered at that time, about a decade ago, the deal on sports talk radio was, well, to do it right, you gotta break down the whole team. You gotta bottom out and start at the bottom and then work your way up. And you got to lose for 3 or 4 or 5 years. And I was always puzzled by that, by saying, why? Why do you need to do that? Why can't, I remember the quote, why can't you rebuild and compete at the same time?
Yep. And
what David Stearns, the former GM and president of the Brewers, well, I guess maybe he wasn't president. Maybe he was. He proved that it can be done. And then he handed that off to Matt Arnold. And Matt Arnold, that can be done. So all that being said, guys, their foundation heading into the 26th championship season here, their foundation is set. They won 97 games last year. They won more games than any other team in baseball. Runners in scoring position. There was some clutch DNA in these guys, meaning they hit 279 with runners in scoring position. That was second only to the Blue Jays. Blue Jays ended up in the World Series. So all of those guys are back. I mean, you go around the diamond. Andrew Vaughn and your boy Bowers there, Tommy. I can't forget him.
Yeah.
He's back. But Terang, Ortiz, Durbin, William Contreras behind the plate, Churio, Frelick, Yelich, all of these guys are back. Now, will there be some regression? Maybe. But you don't have everybody regress in the same year. It just won't happen. In fact, some people will take another step forward and take a quantum leap. So everything's there in terms of infrastructure that was there to win 97 games last year. A couple of minor moves here, but to answer your question, they're set. They're going to compete for another division title.
Well, right, Tim Allen joining us here, new host of Hot Stove Weekly every Wednesday from 5 to 7 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, as well as Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show you can hear after each and every Milwaukee Brewers baseball game. Tim, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, and we on this show, with me being in the baseball realm, we always tried to touch it a little bit, and we had all different types of guys. We had a tattoo bet for Bryce Terang. If he ever got to a 20-game hit streak, I was going to get the number 2 tattooed on me.
So close.
We had William Contreras, who we just kept calling Bill. Whenever we heard Bill once, it was like Bill Contreras, professional hitter. That's how we tagged him all last year on this show. And you bring it up with a lot of returning guys. The over-under, I know you're a gambling man there sometimes too, Tim. It was at 87.5 wins for this Brewers team. I think that's the most I can ever remember it being at. Like, this year feels like the expectations are as high as they have ever been surrounding Milwaukee baseball.
Yet when you read the national articles, whether it's USA Today or ESPN, or they put up these power polls and wins on average and odds and things like that, everybody is saying, well, yeah, but it's going to be the Cubs division now because they got Bregman and Cabrera and they made some moves. But they've been saying that how many years now? Tommy, Mason, how many years have they been counting out the Brewers?
Yeah.
Yet the Brewers prove them wrong. And I'll go you one further. Even in those same articles that you read on National Baseball Guys, they even admit to themselves, why have I put these Brewers behind these other teams? Because I've been wrong every year, yet they still won't do it.
But so my time there in Green Bay, we loved those years where we were counted out in the underdog. I mean, that was Aaron Rodgers' thing, right? Now the Packers as the team to beat and all of those things, it didn't go so well for them this year. So I think a mentality, especially in Wisconsin and there with the Brewers, with the Packers, with the Bucks, you want to be kind of the forgotten team and then sneak up and just hit people in the mouth, right? I think I think that's where this team really thrives. My question to you is, how do you sneak up to the LA Dodgers and punch them in the mouth? Because do you think them losing to them in the ALDS this year, CS was a benefit that they can learn from that and have that be a galvanizing moment as they get into the playoffs next year? to face a team like the Dodgers, who they dominated in the regular season, but then just couldn't get past that juggernaut in the postseason.
Yeah, that is the big question, though, and I got to stay consistent, guys. The economic structure of baseball is fact. It is not fair. It's simply not fair. I don't see how $509 million doled out by the LA Dodgers, 509, that included $168 million as the penalty. I mean, they paid in penalties $20 or $40 million more than the entire Brewers payroll.
Yeah.
It's easy to go out and now does it assure you? Does money guarantee you a World Series victory? Of course not. What it ensures you is relevant baseball. The ride that we've been on, the Dodgers and big market teams, they get that virtually every year. Whereas we have to enjoy it because, hey, we're doing it on peanuts here. So the question is, how do you beat those guys? You can't change the rules now. Now, they may be changed next year to a new CBA, but you can't change them now. And it may take years, even if they decide to get somewhat of a more fair salary cap. Guys, it would take years to really grandfather out all these guys that would be grandfathered in. And that's going to be a really convoluted kind of agreement. It will be. It'll be confusing.
Tim Allen, follow him on Twitter at Tim Allen Rants if you want to follow along with what he's tweeting about the Milwaukee Brewers and everything over at the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network this year. Tim, yesterday when we were talking, you were saying how, hey, I like football. I want to talk some NFL a little bit too. I don't want to oust you on your fandom. It's not the Bears for anyone who think it might be that way. But what do you got right now on this Packers situation? I know you're still in the loop a little bit on Matt LaFleur and coaching and what's going to happen there. Just give you some of your best NFL stuff here as we wrap up with you.
Sure. Guys, I was talking with John Kuhn the other day, and I just brought this up. Well, the one thing that kind of really raised my eyebrows after that Packer loss was what Jordan Love said after the game. And maybe it's semantics, and maybe I'm crawling down a rabbit hole that I misunderstood. But I heard one of the comments say that, we're in situations like this, up 21-3. I'm paraphrasing here. Up 21-3, and they were up 27-16 with 6.5 minutes to go. We have to, and here's the quote, find a way to win those games. And that just struck me as, ooh, ouch. A dynamic team shouldn't have to find a way to win an 18-point lead game, right? But that's what stuck out. And then the other thing is, guys, you can't argue with LaFleur's success. I know people are upset with him. I'm a LaFleur guy. I think he's a winner. I do, and I say you retain him.
Yeah, I mean that was a great point. It is interesting. Yes, you shouldn't have to find a way. If you're searching for ways to win when you're up 11, you've already lost that one. And in a lot of people's minds. So. Oh man, this is great stuff. I'm excited. I enjoy watching the Brewers because of all those reasons of their payroll, the way that they go about their business. Just playing a little bit more like old school baseball, where it's like let's just get the bat on the ball. Let's play great defense and have amazing pitching. Like it's just so much fun to watch. I do want to ask you before we let you go on, like the semantics of a new CBA. Do you think? From a fan perspective, I think you want it all even and like it kind of, like the NFL gets parity across the board. But from a player perspective, do you think they want it to change? I mean, the money is so astronomical. You would think from a player perspective, they're like, yeah, winning championships is great, but I might go get $100 million contract, never win one, but my family and my life I'm set up forever. So what do you think the balance is there?
Yeah, and it is a balance, Mason. It is. It's going to be the lower echelon players, and they're all good. Don't get me wrong. You play in the show, they're all good. It's just like playing in the NFL. I mean, there's not a bad NFL player. They're all just good. It's all relative. But, those guys, the Caleb Durbins of the world, the Bryce Terangs of the world, they're going to make more money. And there's more multiples of them than the Bryce Harpers and Kyle Tuckers and Shohei Otanis. I think it spreads it out more. And I think that's the way to sell it to the players, that, guys, look, there's only a fraction of you guys that are $300 million, $200 million, $180 million guys. It's not a lot of you when you really add them all up. The rest of us can really and although keep it somewhat of a meritocracy too, where, hey, if you're good, you should get paid.
Yeah.
So leave some wiggle room there, but also just sell it to the players that you can spread it out, and we all. It's a 10, 15, $20 billion operation. I think the pie is big enough to cut it up a piece.
I totally agree, but then you got to get those owners to agree to something to to share that piece of the pie a little bit. So.
Everyone's going to argue over less money. Everyone wants less money. That's what
exactly.
Yeah, that's what I've gathered. Tim, if you guys missed it yesterday, there's the whole show up on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Hot Stove Weekly, best Brewers coverage on your favorite podcasting apps. There was 2 interviews. We had 4 actually, but 2 interviews up on the YouTube page. Quinn Priester and Caleb Durbin from yesterday on Hot Stove Weekly. They were awesome. Me and Tim have got nothing but great support so far from it. Tim, I cannot wait to keep things going here in the 2026 championship season, as you would say. Brewers coverage, no one doing it better in the market than us, hopefully, Tim.
So I appreciate that. And my girlfriend yesterday was looking up to buy a Mason Crosby jersey. I'm not kidding you. I'm like, why? Because I work at the same station he works at. And she's like, yeah, but she is the biggest Packer fan this side.
Are they cheaper? Are they on sale yet now?
Oh, relax, Tommy. No, they're actually at a premium now.
Yeah.
There's so few of them out there. You gotta go find them.
Wrong. You know what? They're a little bit up there. They were making some of your autograph stuff.
There you go.
It is.
Well, hey, whenever I'm in town and whenever you buy me that beer, just bring that jersey and we'll get that thing signed. It'll be perfect. I'm actually coming to Milwaukee for the card show there in the weekend of the January 31st, February 1st. So, yeah.
I'll make it a point to try and hook up with you, man.
All right.
Tim Allen.
Really appreciate it, Tim.
Thank you, Tim Allen. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Tim Allen. Follow him on Twitter at Tim Allen Rants on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Hot Stove Weekly every Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And, of course, Brewers coverage, game day stuff. No one's going to be doing more than us. Pre-game show, the leadoff show, 1 hour before first pitch, each and every Brewers baseball game. That'll be with me. And then I'll be on with the post-game as well with Tim Allen, the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show, immediately following every Brewers game this season. We're going all in on the Brewers after the Packers broke our heart, Mason.
Yeah, I'm all in now. Yeah, the Bucks, gosh, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm all in on the Brewers now. I'm focused on that. I'm going to start leaning in.
It's just going to be so much. It's going to be so hard to be as fun as last year was. The expectation has to be high for this team.
Yeah, we'll find a way, though. We got to get to a game this year. I mean, I didn't even get out to a game.
Right. I mean, and you got to throw out a first pitch. Remember, we got to figure this out, where you're throwing out a first pitch.
I'm going to start training.
You just don't spike it. As long as you don't spike it, you'll be all good gas from there.
Relax.
It is the Mason Crosby Show. We are presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Mace, ready to get into your brain after this?
Let's jump in. Extra points coming up.
Extra points on the Mason Crosby Show, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today?
Now I'm thinking.
It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis.
Tell me what's on your mind.
On the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, we did not hit our picks this week. Appreciate everybody jumping in, engaging with the show.
We'll get them in tomorrow.
It's been a week. Yeah, it's been a week. Yeah, we'll do our picks tomorrow. Jump on, join us. Give your opinion on what we think. Because we have been wrong more often than not on our picks this year. Mitch, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. We'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Go get some rest, drink some water. Just rest this thing up. But appreciate Tim Allen jumping on, Ashley Washburn jumping on earlier in the show. If you missed it, you can find any of our stuff on YouTube, on Twitter, on anywhere you get podcasts. We are everywhere all the time. You don't have to miss us if you can't catch us live. So, Tommy, how many shows are you doing today? I mean, I feel like
I got one more. One more after this.
That's pretty easy.
But yeah, it's an off day. It might as well be an off
taking
day.
A little breather.
That's what it became last year on like the weekday off days, where it was like, oh, all I have to do is the Mason Crosby Show. Easy. Like that's
an easy day.
That was an easy day, right? But now it's gonna get ramped up. I'm excited for it. You know me. I'm bored if I'm not working anyway. Like I just want to go out and do something. Yeah, and I'm sure you understand that too, right? So I love to relax and be lazy, but ultimately I know I'm probably better if I'm just up and around and moving.
Yeah, I take full advantage of the times where it's like quiet in the house, or I have like a moment, and it's like if I can get like 15 to 30 minutes, and I just put my feet up, and it's like. Take a breathe, like a little breath. And then it's like, all right, now I got to go pick up a kid, take a dog, whatever. My dog got his ear bit this morning by another dog. So I got to take him to the vet and get that checked and antibiotic. It doesn't look bad. Like I think they were just kind of roughhousing, and it looks like more like the dog's teeth just kind of scraped his ear. So he was bleeding. It doesn't look bad, but you know how the vet is. Oh yeah, bring him in. We'll get him antibiotics. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a $500
right. Yeah, here comes
trip.
a grand on this. Like
it's like, he'll be fine, but you want to get him antibiotics just in case. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I fell and cut myself, like if I got bit by the dog the way that it looks like he did, I probably wouldn't. I'd just be like, oh, I'll check it. I'll make sure it doesn't get infected.
Heal itself by that time.
Dogs are such babies.
I was hovering over when you had B come out right after that. I was hovering over, just making sure. Tomorrow we'll be back here starting, of course, at high noon, as we do, noon to 2 every weekday here on the Mason Crosby Show. Do you think that tomorrow is the last day for any Matt LaFleur news? Like it'll be all reactions by next week to what happens. But as far as something happening, whether it's an extension, a moving on from a trade talks, like tomorrow feels like the deadline for any sort of big news that could be surrounded in that situation.
And knowing the Packers, like something would come out on a Friday. So then it's like, all right, like now we're into the weekend, right? Usually don't want to but for the Packers
Friday night,
they want it to be kind of see if they can hide it out and get the buzz, kind of taken down a little bit. So yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna have our ears on it and just see what ends up happening. But we'll wrap up the Packers season and kind of our final thoughts on what everything's gonna be, how we're moving, what this Matt LaFleur Gutekunst deal is gonna be, which coaches are gonna be on the move, and we'll just we'll dive in a little bit more tomorrow. But I'm getting tired of it. I'm just like, all right, let's move into the offseason. Let's start building this thing for next year. So, and I think that the Packers know what they're doing. They know how to get through a news cycle, and then they're like, all right, well, all these other coaches are going to start getting hired, and then you just kind of slide like, a Matt LaFleur extension under the table and get this thing done.
Yeah, make sure you stay tuned. Wisconsin Sports Daily, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer coming up with Charlie Usen on the 1s and 2s of that show as well. Bill Ryder going to join them today, talk a little bit probably about Giannis. So, could you imagine if Aaron Rodgers booed the entire crowd in Lambeau? Could you imagine if Jordan Love did that? Love, they would send him out. First guy, see ya, no, done.
Yeah.
No way. Malik Willis, stay back because you're the guy of the
future.
You're
our guy now,
I couldn't believe that happened yesterday, Mason. You got 30 seconds to do a take on that?
Well, I didn't see it, so which is bad. Like, yeah, I've been running around like crazy. So Giannis booed the Milwaukee crowd.
Booed the crowd after
that's
that's
bad. That's bad. That's bad ball.
Ball.
That's tough. I mean, Giannis, if he wants out of Milwaukee, that's the way to do it. If that's like his motivation now, he has put his name back into that trade talk. Will Giannis be back? Like, I can't wait for the summer of will Giannis, stay in Milwaukee. But if you're booing your fans, it might be over. Yeah.
It might be over. The Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Make sure you guys tune back in tomorrow at noon to catch more of Mason Crosby, Mitch Thunder Nellis. Stay tuned. 2 to 5 is Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. I'll be live for 5 to 6 today as well in studio with Wisconsin Sports Wrap Up. Maybe I play a couple of Quinn Priester, Caleb Durbin. I might just go full Brewers for that hour. I might just go
pop
full
your
Brewers.
Collar too. Just pop that polo. And
Is it look good? Does it look fine?
You look good, man.
All
You
right.
look good.
I was trying to. I was looking for the most flesh-colored one I could possibly find today. It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. We'll see you again tomorrow, Wisconsin.
Later.
I was